Hi everyone, this is Azita. Welcome to another healthy parenting series. Hope you're all doing well. Today I want to talk about the concept of how much control is a good control, especially at this time that we are dealing with coronavirus. I have some tips for you which I hope it would be helpful for you to apply in your everyday life with your children in this quarantine. But number one is try to avoid power struggle and controlling everything your child wants to do as much as possible. Now I know at this time, children are home and it's absolutely crazy, uh, and things are out, probably the toys are out, clothes are out. You can shout and scream to your child that clean up, clean up, clean up, because they don't. And everybody is stressed. So how to avoid controlling what they do? One step would be to actually limit, put toys and extra clothes outside if you can just sort through them, especially clothes, because now not everybody goes out that much. So you declutter your place, and therefore when the place is a little bit more organized, the sense of comfort and calmness is stronger. The same thing with toys, so you don't have to constantly ask them to clean the toys, and indirectly you don't have to control their behavior or their games. You put them in containers and you put them away, and then you switch so they don't get bored of what they have. So basically is try avoiding control as much as possible, controlling your child's behavior, and pick your battles. Make sure that when you want to control, you're controlling the things that are in fact dangerous, and let go of things that are not dangerous. And now, if possible, instead of controlling your child to tell your child do and not do, try to control the situation. What do I mean by that? Controlling the situation would mean that you create a safe environment for your child to behave. You are not controlling your child's behavior. And why is that important? Because when you control your child's behavior, you are taking the sense of agency from your child. You are tampering with the skill of decision making. You decide for your child, you don't let your child make decisions, and therefore she would never know how to make decisions. But if you control the situation, it means that you create a situation that is safe to navigate through, safe to operate. Then it's very healthy, because at the same time you're making sure that you feel safe, that the environment around your child is safe. And at the same time, you don't have to constantly control your child. So it saves you time and energy. Now, how to create a safe environment? You put anything that is dangerous away as much as possible. Anything that your children had access to without your knowledge, away. So it's going to be a little bit limited, but at least safer. And so the tip was, try to control the situation and not your child. Now I have a caveat here, and that is, make sure when you're trying to control the situation, avoid paving the road for your child. I know this concept is not necessarily very alive right now in coronavirus time, but in general I want to bring this up because I think it's extremely important. Sometimes parents try to control the situation so much in a way that does not create any challenge for the child, and we call it paving the road for growth. You don't pave the road for the growth for your children, because life is not like that. They have to learn how to struggle with life, and the road is quite bumpy in real life. So please, if you want to control the situation, do it in a way that is safe, but not necessarily without any challenge, because you are promoting healthy growth. Let me see what I have. I'm looking at my notes. Okay, if it becomes a situation, by the way, with the concept of control, one major tip I have is the whole rule of thumb is safety, safety, safety. Now, if the situation is dangerous, you have to have full control. If the situation is not dangerous, but you are hyper vigilant, then you have to identify if it's me or the situation is dangerous. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. Okay, so when you need to control your child's behavior where the situation is dangerous, then make sure at least your child has something to say and has a say in it. Because in this format, you give a sense of power, of decision making that is super important in your child's growth to your child. Now, please remember one other thing that is super important, like the same importance as safety, 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 is process, process, process. And why do I mean by that? Meaning the process of how you apply your control is 10 times more important than what you're controlling. Now, what do I mean by that? If you have to control something, if for instance you have to say no to your child, make sure that you engage your child in the process of saying no or controlling the situation. So you would say, for instance, well, you can't go biking out right now, or you can't go play with your friends out right now because we have this coronavirus happening. Now, but let's see what can we do to do something different that you can also enjoy. So you bring your child into the conversation of how to solve the dilemma. And this way also remember that you are actually not exerting your power to control. You are negotiating, and in this way also you're teaching your child the art of negotiation. And then ultimately you might end up saying no, and you might end up controlling your child's behavior. But at least your child also feels a sense of power, and feels that she was important in the process of decision making. Now, one last thing that I want to say as part of the tips I'm providing for you today is parents should be aware if the danger is a real danger or it's a perceived danger. Perceived danger is that the parent, because of his or her past, feels that everything is dangerous, is sort of hyper vigilant about the situation. If you're that kind of a parent, please have awareness that you might perceive danger and the danger is not necessarily out there. So deciphering between real danger and perceived danger is extremely important. Now the tip here is if the parent has a history of trauma, if herself has been exposed to danger or witnessed any kind of a harm to any family member or dear one, then that parent is more sensitive to the concept of danger and might have a very subjective perception of it, and that is dangerous because it will prompt the parent to control the child, and that's not healthy. So if you detect that you might have some fears that are stemming from your own childhood, please have awareness and double check when you want to control your child. If you are able to decipher correctly and you say, okay, it is not really dangerous, but it is me, it is my past that's speaking to me, consult, talk to your friend, see how else you can solve the situation before you control your child and before you control the situation. Remember, the main thing is avoid controlling what your child wants to do as much as possible, as long as you are maintaining safety of your child and people around her and yourself. Now, to be more specific about the coronavirus situation, because the whole thing has been changed so much, everybody is so stressed, I recommend that you ease up on the regulations that you have had in everyday life. We are having a crisis and we cannot address crisis with a normal and non-crisis based approach. So what that means, like if your rule was let's watch TV only for 20 minutes once a week, once a day, now because of the situation you can allow your child to watch a little bit more TV and more frequent. First of all, it buys you time and energy, mental and physical, not to get into struggle. It gives some kind of a regulation for your child to decompress. And after all, it's not a killer. I mean, okay, TV, I know is not the best thing. I know hanging out with your other siblings or do some kind of a educational activity is better. But again, we have a crisis situation. And bending some rules, although in a micro very like right now, right this second kind of approach might not sound right, but in overall picture, if it saves you energy, mental energy and physical energy, it's not bad. Having a little bit more snack that is not necessarily healthy and you would never have done it, given it to your child before, but be a little bit more open to giving more snack. It's after all is not going to harm your child's physical health, because it can always be corrected later on and you have time to correct it. For now, again, we have crisis and the situation has to be approached in a crisis format. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it will be helpful for you. Please send me your comments or your ideas and any other topic you would like to address in this very difficult time. Healthy parenting, be safe, and I see you in another video.